Yo, what up, crewmates? It is Scarlet. I I just want to talk about shit, 'cause that's what I like doing. I like talking about shit, if you didn't know. So recently, as in a couple days ago, my roommate said that I'm no longer allowed to use their dishes, right? And for the past almost 2 years, I moved in uh January 23. So this upcoming January, is going to be 3 years that I've been here. And over these 2 years that I've been here, I have been using my roommate's dishes, not using my own. And I have ADHD. I'm not good at doing the dishes and remembering to do them, right? Like I've figured out my habits for doing chores and getting them done, making sure I get them done, but sometimes I just don't, you know? That's just it feels like something I just have to live with because it's frustrating to me when I like walk out and see that my laundry is half done, or I come into my room and there's just clothes all over my bed, and I'm just like, oh my god, why didn't I just do this earlier? But it just feels like it is what it is. And then we've had conversations about it, about like don't leave the dishes out overnight, or so we've had conversations, and it started being like, don't leave your dishes out for super long. And I was like, okay, I won't leave them out more than 24 hours. That was my compromise. And that's very doable for me. And then like a couple weeks ago, I got a text saying like, please don't leave them out overnight, which I felt bad about. I didn't communicate this, which was an L. But I felt bad about that because I like to go to bed at like 8 o'clock. I will like get home from work, eat dinner, go to bed, and then wake up at 5 in the morning. And if I make dinner the night before, I will usually just do the dishes at 5 o'clock in the morning when I wake up, when I'm making coffee in the morning. And then to I was told to not leave the dishes out overnight, right? And then I made lunch with my friends, and then I went to work, and I didn't do the dishes from when we made lunch. And then I completely forgot about the dishes, and I was going over to my friend's place. But while I was on my way to my friend's place after work, I get a text saying that I'm like super long, not allowed, just not allowed to use my dishes anymore. And I was like, okay, like just thinking about it, just like, oh my god, I have to go out of my way to get these fucking dishes. I'm broke as fuck. Like, not only do I struggle to afford food sometimes, now I'm gonna struggle to afford to cook the damn food. Like, I mean, I'm chilling. I ended up just going to the thrift store and grabbing some dishes, and then I also got an old dish set from my parents that I used to use, which is really funny, cause when I lived with them, I think they actually got a new dish set after I moved out. So it's like it's so crazy, but I'll be able to like serve my friends food on these cool plates and shit. It'll be awesome. I love cooking, and I love cooking for my friends. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say I've had an eating disorder, but I like there was a long time in my life where I just barely ate anything. And like I want to say 2020, COVID hits. I'm a sophomore. It starts out like whatever. I get a PC end of 2020, and then like COVID, like shit starts to really go down, and where we're like locked in, where we're like most shit's closed, we can't go to school, shit like that. Like I just stayed inside and I just played. I literally played League of Legends for like almost 2 years straight. It felt like staying up super late, getting hardly any sleep, barely going to school or going to work the next day just to come back and play more League. And I almost forgot where I was going with this. During that time, I basically just didn't eat because I would I wasn't moving. I was just playing video games. It doesn't feel like I need to eat. And then on top of that, when I have coffee, because I've been drinking coffee since I was 13, and at that point, I think I was certainly addicted to caffeine. Um, like I had coffee every morning to keep me going, and that shit suppresses my appetite as well. It makes me feel like I don't need to eat, and then I don't eat. I feel like I can't get up out of my desk. Feel like I don't want to move, and so I just end up sitting at my desk, literally starving, playing video games. And this is like I'm not even enjoying playing video games. I'm playing video games because I think it was because I just didn't want to like actually think about what was going on, to think about my conditions. And it's like if I'd known I'd had ADHD, I think things would have been so different. I got diagnosed at the beginning of this year, and like 19 years of thinking I'm a fucking idiot, of thinking like that so many things are so much harder than they ever like needed to be. Oh my god. But yeah. And then and my point with that was I like cooking for my friends because it makes it a lot easier to cook for myself. Like if I ever don't feel like eating and I have a friend over, they're hungry, like I want to cook some food, you know? Like I want to make sure you're hungry. I want to satiate that need. I want you to eat my food. I love it because I really really like myself, right? And so cooking is a way I express myself. And so when my friends are eating my food, when anyone's eating the food I make, it feels like they're experiencing my self expression, you know? Like it's just so cool. One of my favorite things to make because it feels just so me is this special type of gyoza that I came up with, right? Like I learned how to make gyoza, which are these nice Japanese dumplings that you like partially fry and steam. And you like fold them a certain way. They're awesome. But I decided to make a. I've been perfecting the recipe for a beef lime cilantro gyoza, where like I just take like some beef lime cilantro along with a bunch of spices that taste really good. I may be white, but I know how to season my food. I take a bunch of spices that are like really yummy, and then I mix them all together, and then I take the gyoza wrapper, fill it up, fold that shit. Homemade gyoza wrappers, by the way. I make my own because I'm so cool. But wrap it up, fry it, steam it, and then in the end, the product feels like it's so me. Like I love lime. I use a shit ton of lime, and then I usually take. I think last time I took a cotija cheese and put a bunch of that in there because the lime. What it does is it suppresses how salty the cheese is, and that cheese is really goddamn salty, right? So I can put a bunch of that cheese in. I can get a bunch of that nice cheesy creamy texture, and I can have a bunch of lime because like I can get all of that lime flavor, and it doesn't really harsh the dish because it's working so well with the cheese. And I think also last time I used pork instead. But holy fuck, it's good, and it feels like it's so me because I love how the lime is just fucking punches you in the face. Like, you eat it, you taste the lime, and I feel like the lime in that dish. And the dish is like it accentuates me and the aspects of me and my personality that I love. Like just how flavorful I am, how in your face I am, and how like, how I want to be. Ah, it's so crazy. But but I feel like I can put myself onto the plate when I'm cooking. And it's just so badass. Holy fuck. This makes me cuz I was talking about it. This makes me think about when I was like just super depressed and playing video games all the time. Like I genuinely played League for like 2 years straight. and it wasn't good for me. Like I should have gone out I should have gone outside and talked to people. But, I didn't. It is what it is. Honestly, what I really wanted to talk about was just the idea of free will, right? Because I was thinking about, I was playing Fallout 3. I was trying to record a Fallout 3 video, and I just kept thinking, I really don't want to have to watch another, like, hour-long footage of me beating these fucking bullet sponges to death. It's like, I didn't want to, right? I barely even want to play that game anymore. And I was just like, and then I just decided I don't want to record it anymore. I don't want to edit it anymore. I'm done. Because I can do whatever I want. It's my YouTube channel, you know. Like I'm not obliged to continue making that shit. Even starting my channel took a whole lot of like understanding my free will to do. Where it was like who the fuck gives a shit if I make a YouTube channel? I grew up watching YouTube videos and I want to make them as well. Like even like I could literally just stop and nothing would and it wouldn't matter. I could just go do something else because I can choose what matters, right? Like I think one of my friends told me this idea is absurdism. The idea that you believe, I believe nothing has any intrinsic value. But we give things value. Like like essentially if nothing matters, then I have the power to make things matter. I have the power to make my YouTube channel matter just because I care about it. Now to my world, which is all that matters to me, it matters and it has value, right? Which is like, you know, on a more leftist note is an idea that I don't think capitalism, I don't think works with capital. It's a non-bow, right? Because in capitalism, like everything is sort of a product and hasn't a value assigned to it. You know, I go to the store, candy bars like $2.50. Like that's fucking crazy. First of all, I don't necessarily value that candy bar at $2.50, but I don't have any power in this situation to say, yo, I value this candy bar at $1. Give it to me for $1. I can go steal it because I don't think that candy bar has like any monetary value potentially. But I think that's also could be why someone would feel bad for stealing because they don't think it's worth nothing. You know, maybe they just wanted to. Maybe they just thought that the price was too much. And I'm just talking like in my own experience because I know I used to feel bad about stealing when I was like a teenager. Like that shit don't matter unless you're stealing from like people it matters from, I guess. Like I think if you're stealing from individuals and potentially small businesses, then like it's kind of fucked up. But stealing from like more of a corporation, a place that can just write it off, a place that has more than enough money to care, you know. I'm I'm going on a leftist rant, bruh. That's another thing. If you don't understand you have free will, you don't understand that you have the will to choose what matters. You don't understand that you can just choose not to not to care about something. If you don't truly understand it, because I feel like a lot of people, at least I'm projecting. In my experience, I used to definitely know that humans had free will, but I didn't really understand the extent that free will is granted. Where it's like it felt like there were so many things that like I could never do. But there were it felt like there were so many chains and shackles in my mind that were preventing me from doing things. And truly realizing my free will felt like it was destroying those shackles, understanding I can do whatever I want. That doesn't mean that I can go jump in the air and fly. It means that I can record a YouTube video and talk about it. It means that I can wiggle my finger like this. This is free will. I have like I have no benefit from wiggling my finger, from wiggling my fingers. You know, I can literally damage myself. Like I've harmed myself in the past where it's like that is an act of free will in a sense where like I am not acting purely in my own benefit and for my own survival. If I did, wiggling my finger wouldn't fucking matter. If I did, hurting myself would be antithetical to my goals. And even though like when I was like I hurt myself when I was younger before I'd realized my free will. And it's just like when I don't understand that everything is my choice, it feels like I am relieving myself of responsibility. Like, if this video gets uploaded, it's my fault. I did it. If somebody doesn't like this video, it's my fault. I made the video. I mean, in a sense. I do want to talk about moral and ethical responsibility, but I'm getting off track. Like my point is like it was every single thing I do is an active choice and it is my responsibility. Like, when I it's so hard to explain. I hate explaining abstract concepts that I feel like I have explained in my mind, but I just can't get into words. Also, I took a fucking I smoked a bowl before I started talking, bruh. But like being able to take responsibility for the bad things that happen is also making you able to take responsibility for the good things that happen, right? Like if it weren't for the idea that I'd have to like I got hit by a car and I understand that by skateboarding in the street, I practically brought that possibility into my life. In some sense of the word, I do take responsibility for that. And understanding that means that when I take responsibility for doing something I really like making really good food, like making a nice piece of art, it feels so much better. Like even choosing to read a book, choosing to read a book that I like, makes it feel so much better. Also, like speaking of when I got hit by a car, that should change my life. Like it's kind of wild. I remember just thinking about how much I regret, how many things that I wish I did, how many conversations with people that I wish I had, or how many times I wish I had like told someone something instead of just letting it go because I thought they wouldn't care. Like it feels like it made me unmask more as well, because like I am almost certain I'm autistic and I have ADHD. And I know for certain that I did a lot of ADHD masking because I used to like I used to think so much about like tone of voice, word choice, body language, and shit like that. And it's not that someone with ADHD isn't going to pick up on those signals. It's just not something that they're thinking about. Because that's how it is for me now. Like, if I'm not actively thinking about picking up on someone's body language, I'm not going to. When I was younger, that's what I learned. I learned I need to be actively thinking about this. So I overanalyzed it and spent a shit ton of my energy analyzing body language and tone to understand what was going on. And like that was a part of my masking. And now it's like cuz I don't give a shit about that. I would just thought I was supposed to. Cuz now I'm like if you don't have something that you could tell me directly, like with a straight voice, then it doesn't matter to me. Like if I don't understand it, and then it doesn't matter. Like tell me in a way that I'm going to figure out or fuck off. Cuz it's like I am neurodivergent. I have a hard time picking up on that shit because I don't care. And even if I did want to, like sometimes it just does not make sense. Like I don't know. I just don't have that kind of radar anymore. Like it's so indescribable because I used to be able to pick up on that stuff. I used to be so aware of everything going on around me at all times, and now that it feels like I've unmasked, it feels like I am so much less aware, so much more caught up in my mind of like just thinking about stuff like or just focused on what I'm doing in the moment. Because sometimes the stuff I'm thinking about, like, is body language or is, like, not necessarily focused on myself. Very often it is focused on myself. But, I also think about my friends a lot. I think about the people I'm interacting with a lot. I think about, like, I don't know. I think about so much shit. Oh my god. It's so wild. I think about the times I've think about things, you know? It's kind of maddening. And now that I know that it's like an ADHD thing and that it's not something that just like everybody does not everybody thinks this much. Not everybody is like constantly going 24/7. And honestly, I think one of the best things I've done in recent memory for my ADHD is like increasing my intelligence. Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Like being more intelligent, because I don't think that's something that like you're just kind of stuck with. I'm pretty like if you just like read books, challenge yourself with new ideas, like consume media, really think about things, like you'll just get more intelligent. I feel like intelligence is the ability to think about things. And if you just think a lot, then you're going to get better at thinking, right? If you challenge yourself with like new ideas that challenge your way of thinking, then you're going to be more suited to deal with that kind of thing. And it's like you can apply it to so many things. It's like it reminds me of how I learned how to play League of Legends, and that game is very, very difficult in my opinion. Like, fundamentally, that game feels so different than everything else I've played. It was so difficult for me to pick it up and for me to really understand how to play it. It feels like how when I learned that, I was able to have a deeper understanding of every other game I played just because I had gone out of my way to challenge myself with this new system. Which honestly, it feels like that feels very similar to chess to me because I played it like I've played some chess here and there, and it's like now that I'm an adult who can understand complex concepts, like chess is so crazy. Like it feels like so many games were just built off of its structure, like the way it works. Like I remember I was having to relate it to my knowledge of like Magic and League when I was playing versus my friend. Like I was thinking about like my units as a front line. I was thinking about the positioning of my units. I was thinking about like what is threatening what, like what is putting pressure where. And I was thinking about my back line, like how could it's so crazy. There's so much going on in that game than I could have ever imagined when I was younger. Which also reminds me like I feel like the human brain, my mind, it feels like it's a computer. And it feels like over time, it's like upgraded. Like I've gotten more RAM, a better CPU, shit like that. And it feels like when I was younger, like I just had like less RAM, a worse CPU, maybe even a worse GPU. I'm inclined to say that I don't even want to post this, but I think that would be antithetical to the ideas I'm sharing. Because I'm trying to share the idea that I can do whatever I want. What if whatever I want is to not share my ideas? How interesting. I don't know. I don't just sit here and talk to the camera very often. And like I said, I have ADHD, so I'm kind of unorganized. I'm not medicated anymore. Well, I am medicated. I just don't take them. Ever since, again, since I got hit by the car, I was just like, man, I really don't want to have to rely on ADHD medication because I was noticing a reliance where like, my brain was craving it, and I really, really did not like that. So, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess something about getting my head hurt really bad made me rethink my decision. Something about the it seems so silly, but I was like, "Oh, while I'm recovering, I shouldn't take my Adderall." Like, and that just made sense to me. And then I just kind of stopped because I was like, "Well, this isn't that bad anymore. I've developed so many like I have so much free time. I have developed lots of systems and ways of thinking that that like make it just easier to live with ADHD. Like it's still a pain in the ass, but it's like but now I don't have to be reliant on an addictive substance and I can be happy and be purely myself. I'm listening to Gojira right now. Gojira is so fucking good. One of my favorite bands. I'm getting into more abstract thought. Them, they feel like it feels like they're me being expressed, you know? Like when I listen to their music, it makes me feel like that's me. That's what I sound like. Like or more like if I was a sound, this is what I'd be. That's how I feel like about a lot of Mastodon's music, a lot of Gojira and Baroness. Those are my three favorite bands. But like holy fuck, I went so I mean if you've seen all my videos, you'd know. But I went to see Mastodon live in Portland. They were playing Leviathan, my favorite album of theirs. And because it was the 20-year anniversary of the album. They just played it front to back plus a couple more, and I fucking love that album. I've listened to it hundreds of times, and like I can I cannot describe properly just how incredible that experience was. It was my first ever concert, and like li- live music is so crazy. I'm just gonna say first of all, like and I was just sitting there reveling in the experience, literally crying while I listened to them. And like and I just remember thinking like this is who I am. Like this is exactly where I want to be. I remember I felt like I belonged. I felt a really strong sense of belonging, which was awesome. And I just remember feeling like perfect, you know? Nah, you don't know. Holy shit! Nah, I don't think I'm getting good at describing this, but that's what it felt like. Like I remember when it was ending. It was like I was literally having to cope. I was literally having to go like nah, no, it's not. It's over. It's gonna be over. I don't want it to be over. But then it was like that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the experience. Is that the experience is over. If it never ended, it wouldn't be so valuable and it wouldn't be so beautiful. If I if that album played forever, if they played that album for an eternity, it wouldn't be as good as it is since they played it once. You know, at least or I saw it once. They played a lot of times for the tour. But my point is that like without an ending, what does it matter? Like there's no goddamn point. Like if something just goes on forever, it's not cool anymore. The fact that things end makes their existence important to me at least, and I feel like that is epitomized in a concert in the idea that I will never be able to relive this experience ever again. And that's beautiful. And that's awesome. This is crazy. I wonder if this is even watchable. It's just me talking about a bunch of random shit for a long time. I mean, I think it'll be pretty watchable, especially for people who have ADHD who are just like, I don't know, interested. So what I'm thinking is that if I just gradually talk about things, it'll become easier and easier for me to pick subjects to talk about. Like if I just talk a bunch of random shit, then I can just be like one day, okay, I want to expand on this thought, and then I can just talk about that. But I think I need to get into it first. I need to create fucking the gateway to philosophy. This is philosophy. I'm a philosophy channel now. Deal with it. No. I'm still gonna play video games and do whatever the fuck I want. I went to I went to a goth show the other night. I think that's a proper classification for it. And now at this show, there was a DJ and they were playing goth music. This is out of my element in terms of music, right? So so they're playing like the only band I could tell you that they played was The Cure. All right. All right. Hate me all you want. But I was excited to go. I put some cool makeup on. I got in a cool outfit. I thought it was a cool outfit at least. But like I got there, I was tired. I got violently high beforehand, and then I I got in overstimulated. It's wild. We I think we got there around like 8:30 and it ended around midnight. And I practically just sat down the entire time. And holy guacamole, it's so disappointing. I'm so disappointed in myself that I did that. But like I said, I was overstimulated as fuck, and it was to the point where nothing was going on in my head. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. I went to go meet some of my friends' friends, and nothing, absolutely nothing was going through my head. And it's just so wild. Like I wasn't even able to like gloat about anything. I wasn't able to like ask a question. Like they complimented my makeup, and instead of giving like a normal, I just said thank you. Like when I get a compliment, I normally giggle about it and say I know. Like oh, your makeup's so cool. Like yeah, thanks, I know. And something like that. There's so much more that's so much more me than just thank you. And then I just went and then I left because there was nothing going on in my head other than I want to sit the fuck down. And never going to happen again. Never going to happen again, right? This this thing. It's not like live music. There's a DJ and like oh my gosh. I was watching one of my friends dancing and they looked so cool. They looked like they were having so much fun. I was having fun just watching them dance. And I wanted to dance so bad, but when it comes to dancing, I'm just not confident and also I was overstimulated and just sitting down in the chair. But I vowed to myself I've been thinking about it way too much. I've been thinking about it way too much. I vowed to myself, I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna go again, and I'm gonna make up for it. Now that I've been there, now that I've scoped out the zone, now that I've gotten my download on, now that I've gotten my download on everything, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna use my knowledge, and I'm not gonna make a fool out of myself, and I'm gonna go have a fucking great time. I'm gonna go meet people because it's a gay thing. It's a gay goth night. It's so cool. I get a fucking because my problem is that's my crowd. That's my people. A bunch of gays and goths. I should fit in. Like I think I'm more of like this is hardly a difference. But I feel like I'm more of a punk than a goth. So maybe I don't fit it in that sense. But like regardless, I think that distinction is almost arbitrary. Like these are my people. These are my people. Why can't I get up and talk to my people? So next time, instead of wearing my traditional stuff, because I was wearing a hoodie. I had like my cool pants that I made on, and I looked very punk and very metal in my opinion. And I think next time I'm gonna try to get more of a goth look. I was thinking about wearing a dress and maybe going a little more extra on my makeup and just making it more goth, you know, a little more black, a little more funeral like. And I'm gonna meet people. I might do some dancing. Since my ankle is still recovering, I think I have a pretty good excuse to not dance. You know, I literally can just hit somebody with the combo of, I'd be dancing right now, but I got hit by a car and I'm still recovering. You know, oh my god, it's perfect. It gives me an opportunity to talk about myself. But, you know, I want to go again. I also, one of my friends is a DJ, and they know shit about local DJs in town. So I heard that there was a DJ in there, and as soon as I did, I was like, fuck, I need to go. I need to go and see who this DJ is. See the scoop. I don't know what I was expecting because I don't know shit about the DJs here. So like I went there and I was like, "Oh, interesting." I literally just thought I don't know what I was expecting cuz it was like just knowledge that I couldn't use. And and so I think next time it'll be the same DJ. They said that they were just going to be doing they said they would be playing like just three bands at the next one. And I literally I was thinking to myself, I gotta study up. I gotta figure out these songs. I gotta study the fuck up. Get my goth music lore on lock. You know what I mean? Uh no, I don't want to do that. I actively don't want to do that. As funny as I think it would be, I would rather not. But I'll go. I'll make up. I'll make up for the sins of what I've done. One thing that's crazy. One thing that's crazy. This is going to be a deep cut. This is something that I don't know if I've told people. I think that I'm a very open person. I'm like if I meet somebody, I will be best friends with them the day after I meet them. I will, you know, I'll sleep with them the day I meet them. I'm totally cool with that because I think I have a good sense of judgment of like who I'm hanging out and sleeping with. And I feel like I always feel like my excitement to start relationships so quickly is a turnoff to other people, and because of it, I suppress myself. Like I always imagine that if I try to if I try to really express what I want, then I'm going to push people away because they want to move slower. And like now that I'm saying it out loud, I feel like it's silly. But at the same time, it's just like I think that's a fear that I've generated just from being online so much where it's like I see I see a group that I belong to being made fun of. Like somebody who wants to move too fast in a relationship, let's just say. Like and if I see that online, like I internalize that shit. And then I just don't stop thinking about it. But now that I've like talked about it and reasoned out that it's just like me not being able to communicate my needs because I feel like because I'm afraid of being vulnerable, I think. Because I'm afraid of being vulnerable because I feel like my needs won't be met and because I feel like I'm going to push people away. Like I don't know. I feel like now that I've named that, it's like I'll have a significantly easier time dealing with it in the future. Holy shit. Who would have thought that it took me talking to a camera for 42 minutes to come to that conclusion? That's crazy. It has been 42 minutes. I have been talking for 42 minutes. What the fuck? I've been watching that timer go up here and there, but damn, I did not think it was gonna be 40 minutes. Whatever. I think I'm gonna upload this. I think this is awesome. I think ideally other people just kind of like I mean, it's not for other people. I upload YouTube videos for myself. I like sharing my ideas. I like talking about myself. This makes me feel really good. It passes by the time. It fucking gets me making a YouTube video, which I like making YouTube videos, and I feel like the more I make, the more I'll learn, the more experience I'll have, the bigger my channel will grow just because like more people are seeing more videos. I don't know. That's not something I particularly care about, but I feel like it would be a nice thing, like just in case, you know? Like I've thought about how it would be so nice to be able to make a career out of playing video games and like talking to a camera, but at the same time, like I don't know if that's something I really want. Like I don't know if that's something that I would find very fulfilling, but I'll have to see, you know? I'll have to keep trying cuz honestly, like I would love to try streaming. I just don't think I have a good enough PC or internet right now, and I'm kind of like not in a position where I can upgrade my PC or my internet. You know, I'll just keep working on it. I'm just gonna keep making YouTube videos, keep doing whatever the fuck I want, until I end up being satisfied with doing one thing over and over again, which I don't think I will be. I think I'll just keep doing random shit. It's my YouTube channel, my life, my free will. That's awesome. I wonder what I'm gonna call this, what I'm gonna title this. I'm thinking about that right now. Because I've been talking about a lot of shit, a lot of different shit over the course of 40 minutes. You see, I have such a desire to do things differently than is like conventional. Like I see how other people are making YouTube videos and I want to just do something completely different that's completely uncharted. Like I just want to sit here and talk to a camera about something like about completely unnatural topics. Like and then I don't care if my editing style is unconventional, like somebody's going to like it. 'Cause I love I love watching my videos. Like I'm just saying. I know other people are going to. Like one person, at least one person is gonna my videos are gonna strike their fancy. Like, and I feel like when you get into more personalized content like that, like Mr. Beast might have a big audience, but I don't feel like Mr. Beast has like a personalized audience of like people who really identify with his content. Because I feel like when you get into a point where you're making good content, or like, and I feel like this applies to anything, whether it's like good art or good music. I feel like once you get into that level, it's just kind of like what is the most appealing instead of like what people are truly relating to and feeling. But I also think that that's just like a product of the capitalist system. Like good music is essentially just whatever makes the most money, you know? Like, wait, that's literally true. Like good music is typically what most people like. Most people agree is good, worth spending money on, worth spending your time listening to. And that's exactly what it is. That just means more money, more profits, more incentives for people to buy your music if it's just good, you know? If you're just trying to make something good instead of trying to express yourself. Like I feel like that's the problem. That's the problem with sequels, isn't it? Like I remember, I feel like I'm just realizing this. I remember always hearing people complaining about sequels and shit like that. But it's just like the idea is creating a movie for the sake of creating a movie instead of for the sake of creating a vision or creating an expression is very different. And like this is why I don't understand like people like why people are super interested in sequels or like very long series because I prefer it just to be one and done of like this is what's happening, this is what's important, and this is what we want you to see. This is our story, our vision. And like I think when it comes to a sequel, a lot of the time they just feel like they're unnecessary and there for the point of expanding like the universe or the characters rather than expanding the story and the vision of like this is what I wanted to create. Cuz after a while it would just become like I don't know. I'm inclined to say it would become passionless, but I don't think that's true. Because you could certainly have somebody working with a lot of passion on something that's not necessarily entirely original. I don't know. I think it's honestly just a preference thing. Like, I think it's mostly just a preference thing. Of I really prefer short stories or stories that are like very self-contained. Like, oh my gosh. I get an info dump about Moby Dick. I've been Moby Dick. I love this book so goddamn much. You hear me? I love it so much. I love how I'm pretty sure at the end of the book, Ahab is not entirely successful in killing Moby Dick. I am very much under the impression that the book ends basically with most of the crew deceased. And I love that because it has because like I was saying earlier, the idea of something needs to end for the beginning to have mattered. If it doesn't end, there's no point. And knowing that there's an end means I know everything else that matters, everything else in between matters so much. That's what I love. Because in Moby Dick, jack shit's happening. You're just kind of on a boat with a bunch of dudes. So when something finally happens, like when something interesting happens, which is completely subjective, you could find the entire book interesting, but it's like I don't find the scenes of like just people talking to each other all too interesting. And I mean, but despite that, I care about them because I know they're important. But like it means that when something does happen, like when another ship pulls up, or when we see a whale, or when we see any kind of creature, it's so much more important because like there's so little happening that like these are the major events that led up to the end. And like one thing that Moby Dick does really well, I think, is the feeling of isolation, the feeling of we are on a boat with little to no contact with anyone who is outside of this boat for years. And the isolation that that creates practically means that instead of building up a world, like something like Dragon Ball question mark, I haven't seen that very much, or One Piece. I talked to my friend about One Piece a lot, so I kind of know about that. But instead of building up a giant world like that where there's lots of things going on, world building in Moby Dick looks like the short events that take place, like getting getting the perspective of one of the first mates on the ship and how people care and how people feel about like the first about one of the mates, like fucking like Starbuck. Just understanding the perspective that people have in relation to him makes like that is world building. These few people's opinions are building up the world of Moby Dick. And it also means that when something happens like another ship comes over, like we have contact with a completely new world. It completely expands the world. But even then, because of how isolated our world feels, we understand that they are just as isolated. But it's like if you have like 1 plus 1 is 2 is still double 1 is what I'm trying to say. Like God, I'm thinking so abstractly. It's like if you have like the crew that we're following, if we know that they're super isolated and we know that this other crew is also super isolated, it's so profoundly impactful because of the impact that we know that these two worlds have with just connecting with each other. Because it's like such an event, such a big deal to actually have contact with anyone else that's not on the ship. And yeah, oh my god, it just does that so well. I don't even remember why I started talking about Moby Dick at this point, but like, God, I love that book so much. You know, the reason I read Moby Dick, I started reading Moby Dick. I'm not done with that. I'm not done with that shit. Right? I've been reading it. I've been reading it since the beginning of the year, and I ain't done with that shit. But the reason I started reading it is because of Mastodon, because their album Leviathan is based off of Moby Dick, and also after listening to Leviathan, because I knew it was based off of Moby Dick. I was really excited to go watch The Whale with Brendan Fraser, the movie with one scene, if you know what I mean. But I watched that movie knowing that it was also inspired by Moby Dick, and I fucking loved it. It was an incredible film. And that's another reason why I started reading Moby Dick. But it was mostly Mastodon. All right, 50 minutes in, I'm done. I don't feel like talking anymore. I'm just gonna edit this and post it. Um, I'm inclined to say thanks for watching or listening, but honestly, I don't want to. I want to be different. I want to say, fuck you. I want to say, you know what? You got all the way to the end of my video. Fuck you. Why are you here listening to me talk? Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I. Thank you for watching. Bye.